Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you for listening to Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. This is your host, Wayne Bradley. I'm on tonight. This is our Fix Michigan Monday show, and we got some great guests coming on the show tonight. We have our Secretary of State, Terri Lynn Land, on. I had a great interview with her earlier this afternoon. And we also have a candidate for state rep, good friend of mine, Dan Tallis, will also be on the show later this evening. So I want to, again, talk about some of the things we need to do to fix Michigan. That's the whole point of this show, is to get people more involved and get their ideas on exactly what we can do to improve the state of Michigan. We have a lot of different challenges to improve our state, including, obviously, the high unemployment rates, some of the failing educational systems, and we have to get leaders in place that are tired of the status quo, and we're looking for people that are looking to fix Michigan. Earlier today, I had the pleasure of interviewing our Secretary of State, who has actually made some positive changes to affect Michigan. So I'm going to play that interview, and I'll let you listen to it. And if you have any questions or calls, give me a call at 347-996-3175. Thank you. Thank you for everyone that's listening and joining me today. This is Wayne Bradley on with Conservatives Cool Talk Radio, and we're doing our Fix Michigan Monday. And I have a very special guest with me today. It's the Secretary of State, Terri Lynn Land. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
Great. I'm just going through some of the things here, and I just wanted to know, first thing off, I'm looking at all the different changes and improvements you've made with in the Secretary of State office. Are you a real tech person, or is this just something you realize that we're going to have to do to update our systems?
Well, I'm like everyone else. I don't want to stand in line. And I want to get my business done with, state government as quickly as possible. And so that's kind of the way I've looked at it. I've looked at it as a customer. And then also I've looked at it from our employee standpoint, and, what kind of paperwork do they have to do on their end. And as they all know around the department, I like to make things simple and easy and eliminate the paper. And that's what we've tried to do. And technology has moved so quickly that's allowed us to do a few things. Like, for example, you now can get your tabs online.
Right.
Very simple to do at michigan.gov/SOS. And then we've also brought it out to the branch offices with our new self-service stations, which work very quickly. You basically put your credit card in, scan your renewal notice, and it prints out a tab. And what's great about these machines is they're in our vestibules, so they're available 24/7 outside of our branch. And just a lot of those types of things that we try to put together so we can make the customer's experience one that works well.
Right. What have been some of the challenges, obviously, with our economy and the slowdown? What have been some of the challenges of making this work? And what are some of the differences? I'm noticing the super centers and the plus offices. What are some of the differences between some of those centers?
Well, what we've tried to do is use the resources that we have very efficiently. And we've been caught every year like every other department has. And so we really looked at how we could deliver those services with the challenges that we have with the budget. So we took the money from the bricks and mortar and put it into what we call our plus and super offices. We brought more of the services that were in Lansing out to the local offices, for example, like instant titles and driving records and different things that you had to come to Lansing for in order to get done, and brought them out to the branch. The other thing that we've done is by doing this, it's really saved resources, not only in rent, but also in personnel, because then we can merge personnel into one office, make it larger. The 1- and 2-person offices really weren't working for us. If unfortunately someone came in with a long transaction,
right,
that made it tough for anybody else with some quick transactions. So the size of office that we like is between about 15 and 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
So we have more people at the counter to help you
right,
when you come in. And then what we also do is have what we call lead workers and analysts there. So if you have a more complicated transaction, you don't have to call Lansing. We can actually get it done right there for you. And this has really helped us save resources because we've also, through attrition, reduced our workforce by over 24%. And by doing that, that's allowed us to keep the great workers that we have without having to do any layoffs.
Excellent. It's been 2 million fewer office transactions since '07. Is that mostly due to the technology? Does it also have a lot to do with the fact that with the way our economy is going?
It's both. We have a lot of folks as was mentioned, using the online services, and that's been a big chunk. About 2 million folks have used the online services. We also have a good chunk now using the self-service stations. And then, of course, it has been tough in this economy as far as title transfers goes, but reality is everybody still needs to renew their license. Everybody still needs to get a tab for their car, and that's, a huge part of our business, and that's still going on. But again, in the title transfers and some of those areas, the operations have gone down a little bit.
Now, with the way things are and the challenges in the economy, I just had a question for you about House Bill 5897. Under Representative George Cushionberry, I guess that was his idea to sponsor this bill. Where do you stand on that and the idea of doubling fees to the customers?
Well, people have to understand that we're just a tax collector. That's the reality of what we do.
Okay.
Obviously, I do not believe we need to raise taxes, and that's why we've tried to do things as efficiently as possible. In fact, I challenge the legislators to do what we have done in government, and that is to reduce our operations and reduce our costs. Like I mentioned earlier, we've reduced our staff from over 2,000 down to 1,500. That's a 24% decrease, all through attrition. And again, not only is that through the services that we've made available, but also through the fact that we do use technology. We've looked at every operation, how we can make it more efficient, how we can do it better. My goal is to provide great customer service, but yet utilize the tax dollars. Now, if every department had reduced their operation by over 24%, we wouldn't be in the tough position that we are today. And we really need to get the other departments to do that. So my challenge to the legislature and to the governor in their operation is to do that first before you go out and raise fees.
Okay, all right. Seems like a reasonable idea instead of passing it on to all the consumers, to make more money, I guess.
Right. In these tough times, people can't afford it. I mean, I'm at the counter all the time, and I see folks that come in, and it's tough. And it's tough for them. I mean, they're just having a hard time paying their plate fees, and they need to do that in order to drive to work. And we don't need to make it harder for our folks out there. We need to make it better for them.
Right. You proposed an idea of our driver's license being used as serving as a passport, and because of our obviously being close to Canada. Has that plan been implemented yet?
Yes, it has. Right now, you can get what's called an enhanced driver's license, and that will allow you to go to Canada, the Caribbean, and Mexico in order that you don't need to have a passport. And the cost for ours is a lot less than a passport. And the reality is a lot of folks will never need a passport,
right.
And they just, want to go to Canada, Mexico, or the Caribbean. People don't realize, but the traffic that goes across that bridge and tunnel in Detroit and the Sioux, I mean, that's $1 billion of trade a week that we have with Canada. A lot of people think, China or some other country is our biggest trading partner, but the reality is it's Canada. And we need to keep that traffic moving and keep those trucks going across. So this new enhanced driver's license allows you to do that because now you cannot just use your regular driver's license anymore. You either have to have the enhanced driver's license, and of course that's citizens only, or a passport to go across the border.
How long does it usually take to get your the enhanced driver's license back?
It's between 2 to 3 weeks, and it's usually a little less than that we can get it to you. We do have to make some checks, of course, because this is for citizens only. So we have to verify citizenship and verify residency in Michigan. And then we work together, of course, with Homeland Security and make sure they do their checks too. And then we get it back to you in the mail.
Okay, all right. Going on to voter registration. If you're a Michigan resident and you want to see if you're registered or not, where should they go? And would it also tell them what district they're in when they're voting?
We have a great website that allows folks to not only find out where they're registered to vote, but also gives them information on where their polling place is. It gives them information on what's going to be on the ballot. It gives information on how the system works and all the dates that you need to know. So it's our website at michigan.gov/SOS. Just go online and check the box that deals with elections, and all that information comes forward. And then it has a guide where you can literally put in your name, and it will actually pull up where you're registered and what your polling place is and all the information that'll be on your ballot. So again, that's michigan.gov/SOS.
All right. And you're also pushing hard for campaign finance reform. Could you explain more about the real-time reporting system for campaign finance contributions?
One of the things that we want to do with technology, it really allows us to have information, right there at your fingertips. And the transparency that we promote, not only in elections but also with our budget and our resources, which are online too. You can go online and see every check that we wrote. We also want to do that in elections, and you can do that now. So what we're basically saying is to have a real-time system, which is kind of like electronic checkbook register, which is available immediately. So basically, when you get $100 from Joe Smith, before you can put it in the bank and use that, you'd have to post it online so everyone could see that. And so then people would know exactly who you're getting the money from in real time. Because what's happened in the past, unfortunately, is that some people file the reports late, and then you never see the money until after the campaign. Well, this way we'd know right away. For example, if yard signs went up and billboards went up, but yet there was no posting of money, you could go after them right away instead of waiting until after the campaign if they haven't filed the report.
Okay, great. And what kind of technology are we putting in place to prevent some of the cases with voter fraud that maybe some other states have had, as far as dead people voting and that kind of thing? I actually had someone email me about how come downtown is the address in downtown where there's just so many people's address, but these people aren't either alive. What are we doing to help improve and obviously curb voter fraud here in Michigan?
One of the things that we've been doing for a long time is we merged the voter file with the driver's license file. And basically, they're one now, so we have that checked. We also work very closely with community health and make sure that if somebody has died and that has a death certificate, that we check our list. We actually went out and gave resources to local communities to clean up their list. The city of Detroit actually did do that. Janice Winfrey, the city clerk there, did a great job actually of cleaning up that list in the Detroit area. So that's been going on for a long time. In fact, we actually have 97% of those eligible registered in Michigan. So we've been working very diligently to do that. Now for the future, we're also going to put out what we call electronic poll books.
Okay.
Folks come into the polling place this August. They'll actually have their driver's license scanned in. It'll issue them a ballot, and they'll vote, and then it'll mark their ballot. So you won't have the ability to vote more than one place because we'll have scanned in your information. And that's really where the future is. And if you don't have your driver's license, it's still not a problem, of course. Everyone can do it the old-fashioned way by signing the form and giving that to the clerk there at the polling place. The reality is we're going to that driver's license with that swipe on it, and that really will make the difference for the future.
And is there, when they say it's an optical scan for voters too, is that what are they going to be scanning eyes, or how does that work?
No, you're talking two different things here a little bit. The voting system right now is called the optical scan system, and we have that across the entire state of Michigan. When I became Secretary of State, we went into one system for Michigan, so it's consistent no matter where you are, not only for the voters but also for our election clerks. So that's a paper ballot. It's marked. You go up to the device, it scans it through, and counts it. Now, what's great about this system that we have is it allows for recount and also for second chance voting, which is very important. For example, if you overvote, it'll kick it back out and tell you that, so you get the opportunity to vote again. And then also, too, for recount. We do a lot of recounts in Michigan, and it's really a tangible ballot that gives us a great audit trail that we could use to literally go back and do that recount. And, Michigan, I love Michigan, but we're kind of a purple state. We have a lot of close elections, and I think it's very important that we have a system that's recountable.
Is due to that, is that why we have so many recounts?
Yeah, we like to keep it exciting here in Michigan, I tell people. And, we always usually have, one party, the other has the House or the Senate, and one has the governors or the Secretary of States, and and even local communities too. They tend to have, that, and I think that's great. I mean, it keeps everybody on their toes, and it gives people the opportunity to make their voices heard.
You've been very instrumental in helping voters with disabilities. Can you, just in case they're listening, so they understand there's really no excuses not to get out and vote, can we give some of the amenities and things you've done to help make sure that everyone gets a fair chance to vote?
That's really been a priority of ours here. We feel very strongly that everyone should participate and everyone should have the option of being able to vote that works for them, and also to make sure that we have a secure system. So What we did is we went out and purchased AutoMark system, which allows those folks with disability, whether it's hearing, sight, or even physical disability, to be able to vote in secret. And that's really the key here. In the past, you had to have someone help you, and you really didn't have a secret ballot, and you really couldn't be truly independent. So now you mark the ballot. You know, it has, for example, a screen on it that can make the print larger, smaller. It has a keyboard on it with Braille, and it even has what's called a SIP puff tube, where folks who are completely disabled can puff into that, and it'll mark the ballot. Then that ballot that's marked at that device is then put into the optical scan system, and it's counted with everyone else's ballot. And that's always been the key, is the folks in the disability community wanted to make sure that they weren't separated, but that yet they still could be independent on their vote, but yet they were part of the whole system. So it's still counted in the whole system like everyone else's ballots counted, and it's really worked well, and it's been a true improvement to the polling place.
Okay, great. We're also, this month is Donate Life Month. Can you tell the listeners a little bit more about that and what we're doing here in Michigan?
In Michigan, we have organ donation registry at the Secretary of State's office, and we connect that with the driver file so that we can keep that posted and updated. And we started a couple years ago with the help of the legislature and the governor, which passed legislation which allowed us to put the heart logo on the driver's license. One of the things that I realized when I first came here, we had about 500,000 folks signed up on the list, and of course we have over 10 million people in the state of Michigan, so we needed to do something to really pump up those numbers and get folks to sign up and give that gift of life. So we worked really hard at it, but we realized we needed to have everyone on the team and have everyone be an advocate. So the legislature and the governor passed legislation to create the heart logo. So now when you sign up, you actually get that heart logo on your driver's license, and then you too can be out there promoting organ donation. And we've seen a true increase from that. And since we've done that, we've actually have now 1.8 million names on the list, and it's really almost tripled the amount of folks that have signed up to be an organ donor. But even though we have that many folks, there's still over 3,000 Michigan residents that are waiting for a life-saving transplant, and we just still haven't been able to get them all the transplants they need. So that's why we're still working very hard. In fact, April is Donate Life Month, and we're out there promoting organ and tissue donation with a lot of good folks. We have folks coming to our branch offices from the Lions Club, the Gift of Life, from hospice, and all those organizations are helping us get that word out and encouraging people to sign up.
Excellent, excellent. Is there a website? Is there anything on a website that people can go to sign up on this registry, either through the state of Michigan or a national registry, so they can know where to go?
Right. Again, it's the same website for elections or for organ donation, michigan.gov/SOS. You can also sign up there, and we'll send you that heart logo sticker, and you'll get that in the mail, or else you can come into our branch. Either way, it works very quickly.
Excellent, excellent. And one last thing, you're actually right now, you're a candidate for Lieutenant Governor, and you're running with Mike Bouchard. How has it been being a Secretary of State and also actively out here campaigning right now?
Well, we have a huge state, as I mentioned, over 10 million folks and a lot of geography, but it's been great. We've been working across the state, talking about Mike Bouchard and his candidacy for governor and his experience. He's a sheriff and also a former state senator who actually was in the legislature when we had $1 billion deficit and still balanced the budget without raising taxes. So he's a strong candidate. He's got experience and backbone. And make those tough decisions that we need to make here in Michigan. So right now we're on the path of gathering signatures and getting those together because, of course, the filing deadline's coming up in May.
Okay.
And we're just out there working hard, asking for the vote.
Excellent, excellent. Well, good luck in that race. I'm sure plenty of people have asked you, did you ever consider running for governor yourself? I had someone shoot me a couple emails on that. Was that something you ever considered?
Yeah, I did look at it a little bit. I did that last year, and the reality was that it was a little crowded out there. And my heart is just to fix Michigan and get folks back to work, and that's really what I wanted to do. And I saw a lot of folks that were good candidates out there, and finally I decided that Mike Bouchard was a great guy. He had the experience and the backbone and could make tough decisions, and I realized that he would be a great candidate for governor coming from the voter-rich Oakland area, and I'm from the west side of the state, which made it a little tough to get the votes that are needed, so I decided to get out of the race and support Mike Bouchard for governor.
Excellent, excellent. Sounds good. Did you enjoy this weekend with this Michigan weather?
Oh, it was wonderful. I had my family over for dinner at our house and had a little Easter egg hunt with the little kids. It's always great, and no, I had a wonderful weekend.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today. Again, you've done some great work here in the state of Michigan. That's why I wanted you to come on. If someone knows how to fix Michigan, you would definitely be one of the first people we need to talk to. So.
Oh, Wayne, I appreciate that, and thanks a lot, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You too, Wayne. Thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, well, that was my interview with the Secretary of State. The one thing that really stuck out to me about that interview, and I think if you heard at the end, she said she just really wants to fix Michigan. I think those are the kind of people we need in positions of leadership. She's shown already, with her being the Secretary of State, she's shown the kind of things she is capable of doing, the decision making, and again, some of the lawmakers are always proposing ways to raise money, and it's usually through taxes and fees that are passed on to the citizens, again, the customers of the state. And again, I found it very refreshing that she said, I challenged them to make a difference, actually for them to cut down on spending as opposed to trying to raise the money off of the backs of the Michigan citizens who are already going through a tough enough time as it is. With the battles with unemployment and job loss, it seems like that the government still does not get the big picture on what's it going to take, and they're not asking of themselves what they want everyone else to do, which is tighten up their bootstraps. But yet, whether it's in Lansing or in D.C., a lot of these politicians just keep on with the spending. So that was a very good interview, and again. She's going to be also running as a candidate lieutenant governor with Mike Bouchard, who I look forward to having on the show soon. So, again, we're looking for people, leaders, and people who are thinking outside the box to help fix Michigan. My next guest who ought to be calling in soon is Dan Tallis. He's running for rep in the 31st District in Michigan. And he has a very storied background here, and I'm looking forward to him calling in so he can tell us all about his campaign, what his vision is to fix Michigan. So he'll be calling in soon. Next week, I believe we'll be having Stacey Mathia, who is an independent candidate running for governor. I spoke with her today, and she just told me that she is switching over to the U.S. Taxpayers Party, which is the Constitution Party here in Michigan, because of the difficulty it takes to gather votes to be an independent, which is unfortunate because, again, a lot of people right now are thinking more along the terms of being an independent and not either one of the two parties, because a lot of people feel that both parties have failed them. So I think she's going to be a very interesting person to have on the show. So I'm looking forward to that. We're reaching out to all the leaders across Michigan on both sides of the aisle to come on to Fix Michigan Mondays. We're looking to hear ideas from both sides to see what they think we need to do to get Michigan moving in a better direction and bring prosperity back to the state of Michigan. I look forward to having Stacey on the show and all my future guests that we're reaching out to come on the show. I'm waiting on Dan to give us a call again. He's running for state rep in the 31st District, so I look forward to Dan giving us a call on the show. If you heard that interview and you let me know what you think, 347-996-3175. What did you think about the interview with Terri Lynn Land? She's the current Secretary of State, and I think Dan's calling in now, so I'm going to go ahead and take that call. Caller, you're on the air.
You there, Wayne, or what? What's up?
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
Doing good, sir. Doing real good. I'm glad you called in. Glad you're on the show. I was kind of just giving a little background about you. I put you out there on Twitter a little bit, let them know what a patriot you are and a great conservative. So give us an introduction and kind of give us a little background and about your candidacy here.
Well, my name's Dan Tallis. I'm a By trade, I'm a bricklayer. We've had a family business for masonry for over 47 years, which we had to close down last year due to the economy.
Okay.
Trying to look for a job last year, I realized the only thing maybe I could do is start another business. So at the end of the year, I started a much smaller business, and, you know, I'm doing okay paying the bills. The reason why I got into the politics was because of the regulations, all the problems that we have trying to operate as a business here in this state. So that's what motivated me in 2006, again in 2008, and one more time here in 2010.
What and when you say the things that, what are the things that frustrate you most about having a business here in Michigan?
Well, okay, just for example, like this, when they changed from the SBT to the MBT, we could never get an honest answer of what our taxes were going to be. And on top of everything else, you know, with the slowdown in the work and everything, we get hit with a bill over $250,000. We just couldn't pay.
Wow.
We just couldn't pay, and they couldn't give us that answer until it was too late. You know, at least if we would have had some kind of preparation, maybe, you never know, but we could have survived. I mean, I had over 100 employees.
And it's because of those kind of restrictive, tax codes here in Michigan is making a lot of other businesses either not come to Michigan or, like you said, maybe downsizing or getting out of business here.
Exactly.
If you know, what positions, now you said you got involved in 2006. What positions have you ran for, and the position you're running for now here in 2010?
Well, the race I had in 2006 is the same one I'm having today. I ran against the Democrat incumbent in 2006 for the State House 31st District here in Michigan. I did it again in 2008, you know, to see, you know, to have some kind of chance, but it was terrible last time with the Democratic wave. Now in 2010, it looks like a good year for conservatives, and some inside information I got from some Democratic polling shows right now the race to be within 4.5 points.
All right. So
which I lost badly in 2008. I lost by over 30 points. So we've already closed the gap, and I've been out working it already, you know, so we're trying to get this message out that, you know, I'm a pro-business kind of guy, and that's what we need right now. That's the answer to jobs in Michigan. We need to encourage businesses to be here.
Right. And as a state rep, what are some of the things that you obviously would do to help fix Michigan with the business tax? What were some of the other things that you would want to do to improve the state of Michigan, things we can do to fix it?
The first thing I would do the second I get on the House floor on January 1st, 2011, is immediately introduce a legislation to freeze the budget at current levels. That means no spending increases, nothing. No increase any departments or anything. Just keep it at the level, and then start piece by piece by piece and dissect this budget for every single entity, department, agency, whatever it is, and start finding the fat in it. With a $44 billion budget, you mean to tell me you can't find $2 or $3 billion in there to balance this budget?
Right.
I don't believe it. I know what it takes because we had to do it with business every day. You have X amount of dollars to work with, those are what you work with. You don't give your employees a pay raise when the rest of the people that are paying the bill are losing their incomes, losing their homes, having to move out of state, watching their children leave. They gave all the employees for the state of Michigan a 3.5% pay increase last year. That's insane. Yeah, contracts or not, they should have found a way not to do it.
Right. That's the kind of thing, I guess, that's got the average person just so frustrated is that while everyone else is struggling, they get themselves a raise. And how does that work, Dan? How is it possible that they can get a raise when we're in such a downturn in our economy?
You know how it's possible? I'll tell you, arrogance. The arrogance of those people in Lansing, whoever the state representatives, the governor, whoever allowed this thing to go through without fighting against it. And I know Mike Bishop put up a gallant effort to try to stop this thing. Okay? Right. These are arrogant people. They need to be fired. They need to lose their jobs. They got to be replaced with regular people. People that This was the intent in this country, to put people that are tradesmen, doctors, beauticians, whatever. They need to go into the state house in every form of government, not professional politicians with their political science degrees.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the overall mood of the country, is that we're seeing normal people getting more involved in this political process, and they're becoming more involved. And do you think that's a good thing?
I think it's a fantastic thing, because what's happening is the people that pay the bills, the people that get up and go to work every morning, raise their families, trying to keep their kids fed, clothed, schooled, they've had enough. They're trying to do what they got to do, and everybody's showing them total disrespect by giving these ridiculous pay increases, by having budgets that are so far out of whack they can't balance. They can't find 5% in a budget to balance it. No. You can find 5%. Anybody can find 5% to save on their bills, except the state of Michigan. It's crazy.
Right. Well, that's definitely it's very disturbing. What do you think? What's your feelings on the Tea Parties here in Michigan, and how do you feel about that and the movement they've had here?
Well, I'm proud to say that I am a Tea Partier. I love the passion these people have, and again, the media tries to paint everybody as some kind of lunatic. When the fact of the matter is, it's people from all different age groups, all different income groups, all different races, creeds, nationalities, they're all out there because the same thing. When it boils down to it, we care about our families, we care about keeping our houses, we care about having a job. That's what matters. And the people realize that when the government's out of control, like it is right now, they want it to stop, and the government is totally ignoring them, and they're doing it at their own peril.
Right. It's really, I think that's the thing that a lot of people are missing out on here. The media, like I said, they try to construe it to something else. It's people of all reaches across all lines are frustrated here. Give me some information. I put your fan page on my Twitter page for everybody to join. What's the website going to be for your candidates?
The website is still being worked on, but right now it is www.tolis2010, okay? Right. And that is, like I said, that's going to be up and running real soon here. If you come and find me on Facebook, look up Dan Tolis. I got a lot of pages over there. Come and join me on Facebook. We have the Central Macomb Republican Club tomorrow night. Wendy Day is going to be our featured speaker over there, along with a few candidates. You know, if the people are out there, they listen to this, they want to come and see us over there and talk to us. Come and talk to the candidates. If it's for me, if it's for anybody, wherever you live, talk to your candidates. And if you like them, support them.
Can you give the address to the location for tomorrow's event? And
the physical address, I can't give it to you because I don't have it memorized, but it's on the northwest corner of M59 and Shaner. There's a Target store in their plaza, and it's the Michigan Fix-It Center for the Michigan Republican Party. And it's a nice facility over there. If you haven't been there, come and check us out over there. Brian Koss is running that place, and he's doing a heck of a job. And we got people coming in every day trying to figure out how to help the cause.
Right. What's been some of the biggest, so far, what's been the biggest challenge running, obviously being a business owner and then wanting to run for a state rep position? What's some of the biggest challenges of that?
The biggest challenge is balancing the campaigning with working. Okay, a few years ago, I was actually in a pretty good position where, you know, my brother and my sister were covering my time while I went out door to door. Now with the situation that he's scrapping for dimes everywhere, I don't have that luxury, but I am getting out, you know, and hopefully here in a few weeks, my dad's going to be back from Florida. He can actually help me while I go out campaigning. You know, he can take care of the business and stuff, then we can at least have a couple dimes coming in to pay the bills.
Right.
But, that's the hardest thing. And they're raising the money. Nobody has any money, but, you know, if people can find a way to give $5, $10 to their candidates, and I hope I'm one of them, do it. You know, it doesn't take much. And everybody's got to look at it as an investment in their future. Okay? This thing to just blindly give money shouldn't be done, but check the candidates out, and if you can support them financially, please do that for the candidate of your choice.
Sounds good. And looking out at this, we have a lot of interesting races coming up here in Michigan for November. Who are you liking for some of the race? Obviously, we got a attorney general race. And it seems like most of the stuff, the bigger races are going to be amongst the primaries, and it will be once we actually get out there against these Democrats. Who are you looking at for governor, and who are some of the promising candidates you like for attorney general and governor?
Well, first thing I want to say, all our candidates, for everybody, whether I'm, you know, personally behind them or not, they're all fantastic people. They're all of good quality, much better than anything the Democrats can put up for sure.
Yeah,
I'll be proud to work with any of them. For the governor's race, it goes back to 2006, and when I first ran, that Mike Bouchard and Terri Lynn Land came on board before anybody just about to support me. And because of that and their support for me over the years, I think they're going to do a great job. I think Mike Bouchard, he's got the right message that he's going to do what needs to be done. And if he's a one-term governor, well, so be it. He just wants to get the situation right. And we all know the job Terry's done at the Secretary of State's office. I mean, that's right there for all to see. Attorney General,
I had like I said her earlier. She, like I said, it really struck me the most when she just said, you know what, I just want to fix Michigan, because I asked her had she even considered running for governor herself. She said at the time she just really wanted to fix Michigan, and she recognized Mike being a good candidate, and said she would.
Oh, and you know what? Getting to know her the way I have over the last 3-4 years, she's one of the finest human beings I've ever met. I mean, here's the woman that she is by far and away probably the most popular politician on the Republican side of Michigan. And she will remember people and talk to them. I mean, it is that important to her. It is that important to her that she knows everybody and she does a great job, you know. And it's the same thing like with, you know, I'm supporting Mike Bishop on the Attorney General race over here. Again, I've seen what Mike's done as the Senate Majority Leader. That war he's had to fight for the last 2 years with these people, and he's not backed down one iota.
Right.
You know, and a character like that, I got to fight for him. You know, try to get this man to be the Attorney General, because when it comes down to it with this health care issue, we know he's going to take the side with us, the Tea Party folks, on this issue for the state's rights.
Right.
I'm absolutely confident of that.
I agree with you. I plan on having Mike on the show. You know, I tried to get on there last week. We had a mix-up in schedules, but hopefully I'll have him on soon so we can talk about some of those issues, obviously, with him being the majority leader, how he's pretty much been in the battle, like you said, for the last couple of years, trying to help get you know, right Jennifer's wrongs, I would say.
And you know what? They're going to spend 2 years straightening out that mess. But if we get the right legislator, if we get the right leadership in the governor's mansion, in 6 months Michigan could start to turn around, because investors are going to see positive moves from the state government. They're going to see that we're moving in that direction. And as soon as they start seeing that, it's just like all want to get on board and be the first ones in to take advantage of whatever economic boom we're going to have in the state, which happened after Blanchard in England was elected.
Right.
That this state turned around quickly, and it was one of the best places in the country.
Right. Yeah, I mean, whenever things are down, it always means there's an opportunity for someone else to come in and make things better. So you just got to put the right people in position to do that. And I think in 2010 in Michigan, like you said, the candidates we have, picking from them, we should be in a lot better shape moving forward.
Yes, they understand. They understand what needs to be done. You know, and I think they're going to be willing to take the risks that need to be taken. You know, this is not a time for somebody with no spine. You better have some backbone and do what needs to be done, because, you know, if you don't, we're going to call you out too.
Well, yeah, I think even some Republicans now are starting to see that, you know, if you don't abide by what what the people want, regardless of what party you're in, people are going to call you out on it. So
that's it.
Like I said, I think that's been refreshing to see so many more people get involved, regardless. You know, like you said, with the Tea Parties and everything else. And it's just like I said, America wants it. They want it back, and it's just not. Like I said, it's the citizens, everyone. It's not just one group of people or anything like that.
It is. It's everybody. So I hope we get this thing done.
All right. Well, I was trying to see if I had any. Anybody wants to call in and ask Dan any questions here? We got a few minutes. 347-996-3175. Dan, what are some other events? Are you lining up your events calendar for campaigning soon? What do you plan on doing as far as, like you said, getting out door to door? What are some other things you might be thinking about doing here to get the name out here and your candidacy more in front of the people?
Wayne, I'm glad you asked me that. On April 17th, a couple days after tax day, I want to try to organize, we're going to organize a lid drop, and I want to try to lid drop my entire House district if possible. So if there's anybody out there that wants to help out, that over here in the Mount Clemens, Clinton Township, Fraser area, I'll be more than willing to accept their help. You know, we're going to go out and put out some literature that morning. Then in the afternoon, we'll all meet up someplace, probably the American Legion or something like that. Have a couple beers or something, a little pop, maybe some pizza and hamburgers. Okay, afterwards, if everybody, they come out, we're going to try to feed them too, for putting that effort out for me. Because I want to get that word out, and the only way we're going to do it is volunteers right now.
Sounds good. And that's what people need to understand. These are grassroots programs, so people need to get involved. And if you want someone that represents the people, people need to get involved to help to make that happen, right, Dan?
They need to. Again, we look at these candidates all the time. They can't do it all themselves. They need people behind them. They need a good, strong support, show support from the volunteers. And that's one thing that I really love about this politics, are the people that will come out of anywhere just to help you if they believe in you. It's really makes me feel good to see some of those people that come and help me out.
Excellent. Well, give your website one more time. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on such short notice because, I called you out the blue tonight. We said we were going to get you on the show. And I really appreciate you coming on. And make sure after we do the show, you go ahead and post it to everybody so they can hear the interview tonight if they weren't already listening in. I'm
going to do that. And it's, again, the website is www.tollis2010, TOLLIS2010.com. And I'm going to be posting a lot. Check me out on Facebook over there. Wayne, thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Dan. I'm definitely going to have you back on again. Like I said, we're going to follow you through the campaign, see if we can build some more awareness because, again, I'm about trying to help out people, and again, that are looking out for people, and that's what we need, more of that in Lansing and in D.C., so God bless you.
Okay, and I got a county commission candidate in Oakland County. I'm going to get her on your show when you got a chance. You just let me know. Her name's Angela Rivers. She's a business owner. She's got the same mindset. She's out there trying to get it done, too.
All right. Well, those are the kind of people we need out here helping us in Michigan.
Grassroots.
Thanks a lot, Dan, for coming on, and I will talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, Wayne.
All right. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. That's my guy, Dan Tollis, running again in the 31st District out in Michigan, and that's the Mount Clemens, Clinton Township area. So, again, we're looking, when I'm bringing on people onto the show, Fix Michigan, on Fix Michigan Mondays, it doesn't necessarily have to be the politicians. We're looking at normal people that are looking to work for the people of Michigan. And again, I think that you have to look at all your candidates and choose wisely. Again, you have certain people that are career politicians, and they're not, at this point, you have to look at them honestly to determine if they're looking out for themselves and the small amount of constituents that have helped them, or are they actually looking out for the people of Michigan. Again, that really, that stood out to me a lot when I was talking with the Secretary of State, was the fact that she, like Dan said, she is the most popular person, probably one of the most popular people in the Republican Party in the state of Michigan. And again, she just recognized it and said that the candidate pool was full, and she, as opposed to looking at just the title, she said, I want to be able to help Michigan, and that's why she decided to run with Mike Bouchard as the lieutenant governor. So again, I think that's the kind of attitude and the mentality we need out of our leaders and people that want to be leaders in the state and in the national government, in the sense that they would just want to help Michigan. They're not looking for titles and accolades as much as they're trying to help the people and make sure that this wonderful state that we live in is in better shape and getting better than it has in the past. I think a lot of things we have to look at from an economic standpoint is what are we doing as a state that's shooting ourselves in the foot as far as making it more business friendly, making sure that we're doing our best, because a lot of people don't, even with independence and everybody was saying we don't want to kowtow to big businesses, and I totally understand that when we're talking about buying out politicians, but the fact is we need these businesses to come to our state to provide jobs. You can't rely on government to do that. What we can rely on government to do is to make it a better background and a better place to come and do business. They can make the conditions better, and I think that we're going to need leaders in place that are going to be willing to think outside the box, and also make some tough decisions. Last week, I was at a function with the Michigan Republican Hispanic Association, and I was invited out to that. And I heard Rick Snyder speak, who hopefully I'll have on the show in the coming weeks. He's running for governor, and I think that we need people that are going to be willing to think outside the box, but they also have to be willing to take on these challenges head on and not avoid them or sidestep them. There were some questions that were asked, and again, I want straight up answers to, sometimes there are yes and no questions that politicians and people in these positions avoid answering, but sometimes you have to give the simple yes and no answers, and I'm looking for candidates that are going to be honest with us, because it's not all good, and it's not, everything cannot be framed in a way where it's going to sound good. So I think realistically in the state of Michigan, there are going to be some cuts that need to be made. There are going to be some restructuring of the way we state employees, and again, that's when you start talking about dealing with unions. And again, we're going to have to really look at the regulations that are put in place in the state of Michigan that are really what I would call getting in the way, counterproductive to businesses want to come to the state. Again, the easy way would be to look at it as making it a worker rights state. Obviously, the unions in certain situations have made it tougher for new businesses to come in, and I do respect and understand in certain instances where the unions have again made working conditions for middle class America better. But at the same time, I think right now, if you ask a lot of people in these unions how good of a job they're doing, I would bet that more than half of them, and again, this is just talking to people, my own experiences, that they're not necessarily satisfied with everything that their union is doing either. So when you start talking about giving people options, I think that's something some people are going to look at down the road. But I think that overall we have to have leaders in place that are going to make these tough decisions, make it possible, again, for people to want to come into the state and do business and open new businesses. And again, we have to take some of the regulations away and make it less restrictive and prohibitive. We have a Michigan business tax that I still can't figure out. Obviously, it was some Democrats' idea to make another tax that other states, quite simply don't make businesses pay, like what you heard Dan speak about. It's hard to get an answer, and then they get a tax bill that, again, when you can't afford it, it's affecting the businesses and the landscape of new businesses coming in here. So I hope that whoever we elect as a governor will look at that and make the decisions that are going to be necessary to make Michigan better. I've talked about this with multiple guests. There's also going to be some issues with this health care bill, because in Michigan you're going to have a large balloon payment that, quite simply, the money we don't have, that we're going to have to deal with this health care issue. So you're going to need people that are going to be honest, but at the same time tough, and not backing down to whether it be Democratic pressure coming from D.C. or pressure coming from within the state. There are going to be some changes that need to be made if we're going to really get Michigan back on the right track. So if you have any calls or any comments about what you've heard tonight with the guests, give me a call, 347-996-3175. I saw you missed a couple callers earlier when we had the Secretary of State on the taped interview. So if you're listening still and you want to call in and give me your ideas on what you think we can do to fix Michigan, I'm all ears. We only have a few minutes left. The call-in number is 347-996-3175. I want to give a special shout-out to all my Michigan State Spartans out there that are listening, and congratulations to the team. We went to the Final Four. We should have won that game to get us to the national championship tonight, but the refs stole that one from us. So congratulations to the team. Another great season. Coach Izzo, another great job of putting that season together. My cousin out there, Chris Allen, good season. You guys work a little harder next year. Come back. Should be preseason number 1. So Congratulations to the guys over there. What else is going on here? We need to fix Michigan on. I really hope people are listening in and figuring out what kind of candidates they want to support. I want to thank Mark over at the Carol Tea Party tonight for getting me Stacy Mathia's number so we can have her on the show hopefully next Monday on our Fix Michigan Monday. And also I'm reaching out, hopefully we can get Wendy Day on the show too. Some great ladies that are doing some great things here in Michigan. So I look forward to having a lot of, like I said, a lot of people from both sides of the aisle. Again, I think we need to also focus on the people who are taking a stance at the grassroots level, trying to make a difference. And we need to support these people and commend them because, again, it takes a lot of courage and determination to even run for these positions and to step out on a public platform and to be willing to speak your mind and also, again, round up support. That's probably the hardest part about being involved in this at a grassroots level when you're not getting support in the beginning, and especially in primaries from the large parties. These folks really need the ground troops and the donations, whether it be, like I said, $5, $10. Anything helps in the grassroots levels of these campaigns. And again, if people are really frustrated and saying they want changes, then they need to really get involved. Again, whether it's through campaigning with people, donations, calling, making phone calls for others. Dan, I saw a YouTube picture of Dan helping getting Scott Brown elected in Massachusetts. And again, it's the whole point. It doesn't matter what state you're in. If you see patriots and people that are running for positions that stand true to what your values are, that are constitutionally correct and are, again, someone that you can support, I encourage you to support that candidate in whatever state, in particular in congressional races, because congressional races, though they might not be in your state, they still can end up affecting you just the same way the reps from Bart Stupak up in Michigan, his votes, people, at the end of the day, it was his votes to help pass that bill. And so again, don't think that because the person's not in your state that it won't affect your lifestyle, it won't affect your country. So I encourage people to, if you have family members in different states and they call you and tell you about somebody, check them out. Go to their websites. Again, help in any way you can. Spread the messages through repostings and retweets and everything else you can do to help spread the word. Get involved and try to make a difference. That is what I'm trying to do with my radio show. It's really a point of getting people out there to spread the word, to give people an idea what they're doing in their communities to help fix Michigan and, again, help fix our country and overall, because the same complaints we're having in Michigan, people across the country are complaining about with our out-of-control government, the arrogance. Again, that's kind of like what Dan spoke on. People are telling our leaders this is not what we want, and they're still doing it. In Michigan, our government makes sure that the employees are getting raises at a time when we're hemorrhaging money and we're trying to figure out new ways to do things. So I really encourage people to get involved in that way. So if you have any calls, we're running out here to the last few minutes. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I apologize to the people that called in while the Secretary of State was on. Again, that was a taped interview, so there was no way I could take calls at that time to answer any questions. So if you're listening out here, give me a call, 347-996-3175. If you get a chance, go check out the website, conservativeiscool.com. We're going to be making some updates and obviously posting some new blogs soon, but we're going to be making some links to start showing who are good candidates throughout the state of Michigan and also throughout the country, because, again, I think we place a lot of emphasis on how people are frustrated. Well, aside from doing what you're doing at home, the best thing you can do is support candidates that are working for change and working to do the right thing in government and on behalf of the people. They're not looking to become what we call nowadays career politicians. So again, I encourage people to get involved, do what you can in your area, wherever you're in Michigan or throughout the country to help fix government, because that's what this is all about. It's about corralling in the free spending on both sides of the aisle, getting responsible leaders in there that are going to think first about what the voters, the people that actually put them in power, not just their favorite constituents, but the voters themselves, who are, again, when you start at the grassroots level, people like Dan won't forget you because you're supporting him in the beginning, and that's what's important. A lot of these, some of the larger, more popular, politicians right now, they're only trying to save on to a job, and I think that's half the problem we've been dealing with now, is that these guys are focusing too much on polls and what they think that people want to hear instead of doing the work of the people. So, again, check out the website, conservativescool.com. We've got blogs on there. We've got some comic relief for all these rough times. If anything else, you still have to be able to laugh. So I encourage you to go on the website and check out the comic relief section. We post all the local news and different news during the day. So the point of it is I give you Fox News postings. I give you CNN. I like to give you different angles. I don't want to, though I'm conservative and a proud member of the Republican Party, I want people to hear it from both ends so they don't think I'm just giving you my spiel and my personal opinion. However, I believe my opinion is more in tune with the people and not just, again, not for the party, but for the people and the frustration that we're seeing out here with our politicians. So I thank everyone that listens in. Thank everybody that checking out the website, listening to the different views that we have on there and the different people that we're bringing onto the show. Continue to listen. Again, we're always bringing new people on. So thanks for all the support. And again, check out the website, conservativescool.com. Got a few minutes here. Again, next week's show, I want to say we're going to have Stacey McPhee on there, who is, again, a governor candidate. And the next week, I have to check to make sure I'm going to have Mike Bishop on there. Last week we had a communication issue that threw that interview off. So I look forward to having Mike on the show. He's a great guy. He's the majority leader. Senate right now in Michigan, and he's running for Attorney General. So he's had a tough job battling our Democratic governor over the last couple of years and trying to keep her in line with all the different spending mistakes she's made and the different legislative mistakes that have been made. But he's been doing a great job keeping things in order. So I look forward to having him on the show. People, if you're listening and you have a good candidate in your area that you think needs to be on the show, I'm all ears. Give me a call on the call-in 347-996-3175, or shoot me an email at twitterfam@conservativescool.com. I'm always looking to bring on new and exciting guests and people that are for the people, by the people. So most of my guests that I've had on the show have been people that my listeners and friends on Twitter and Facebook have suggested. So I appreciate all the suggestions, and I appreciate the great feedback from people on who I can have on the show. So work and keep listening in. So thanks a lot. We got 90 seconds left on the show. If the calling number is 347-996-3175. I believe we're going to have a show on Wednesday nights this week. And we're going to have some college folks calling in, talking about some protests that are going on in Pennsylvania. I'm going to be reaching out to the President for Young Americans for Freedom. Hope on the show soon. Like I said, these are some of the people I met down in CPAC also. So I look forward to having them on the show. We're going to talk about a protest that's going on with a group of people that have made some really inflammatory comments regarding the military, and I guess also with the gay rights issue. So the Westboro Baptist Church is going to be at the Millersville University in Millersville, Pennsylvania. And like I said, they called in tonight they text me to let me know they want to come on there and speak on the issue. So again, This represents everybody. I want to give everybody a fair shot to speak their voice. So continue listening in. Go to the website, .com. I appreciate everybody for listening in. Thanks a lot, and God bless you. Have a good night. Let's try to fix Michigan, everybody.